Welcome, everyone, to the pregame edition of VOM Live, presented by the Voice of Morgantown Network. I'm the host for today, Rush Bishop, and as always, please don't forget to subscribe to the Voice of Morgantown Network on YouTube. Easy to do. Just hit that button. Today, here in a couple of hours, noon on FS1, West Virginia is traveling to Houston. A game when you get to this point of the season, which I guess on paper really doesn't mean much for the Mountaineers. I mean, this is, a harder pregame show to do, right? Because you're not really talking about schemes or X's and O's. You're just trying to figure out who's going to be playing on this field. And does West Virginia do what they did last week and just play and grind it out and figure it out and be competitive in the game? And that's something we've just been asking from Rich Rod from the start in his first year, right? Is, hey, we just want you to be competitive, learn and grow. Or are we going to see it as we did, the games before that, which hurt and were really rough? So, I mean, if there's anything to be excited about, they have made significant strides to last week, but now we just need to show that there's consistency. We've talked about it a couple of weeks now. We're at a point in the season where it's more about, hey, which guys do we want to stick around for next year? Which guys are we willing to build around? Which guys, do we at least just want to have depth while we go out and try to get NIL guys, next year and spend money on other guys? So just like we saw this year, we've said it over and over again, we're going to see next year 70, 80 new players, going to clean out house, and you got to start new, got to start fresh. I will say a lot of us were surprised about this year with football. At least some of us were, me included. I didn't expect them to go 10-2 or anything like that, but was around that 7-5 range. I thought at least they'd go bowling at 6-6. And they weren't even near that this year. Of course, were cases of injury, as there always are in football, but we're at a point in the season, and we're at a point where this was planned to the extent that it could be planned. I guess what I'm trying to say is that they knew that they weren't going to come out swinging for the Big 12 championship, that this was going to be a process. And I think Rich Rod, when you start to look back at history, that, first year Rich Rod, this is a very common type of thing. So today's starter, Scotty Fox, we got here one way or another. We thought this was a guy that, could be a lot capable a lot earlier in the season, right? We saw him in that Robert Morris game, which clearly means nothing at this point. Go out, have a great drive there. And Max Brown. Those are the only two quarterbacks on scholarship that are starters today. And those guys for sure need to stay healthy, because obviously there's two more quarterbacks technically on this roster. But you don't want to be going towards them, not because of them being capable, but how they do the whole preferred walk-on, we'll redshirt you a year, get you. I'm sure there's a whole plan to that. And if you get one of those guys out on the field, it messes up that plan. So, maybe the good news is, we've been talking about these 5 quarterbacks all year round. There's really 7 of them. And maybe there's already a quarterback that is the quarterback of the future that's just not able to play this year. So my guess is, if it really comes to it and both our scholarship quarterbacks are out this game for whatever reason, that may come as a surprise to a lot of us, but also the way the season's gone, maybe it won't be a surprise to any of us, with Wilkins out this week. Don't be surprised if we're already that far behind in the game, or, where you have a wide receiver coming to quarterback just to save these other 2 quarterbacks in terms of redshirting. But I will say, no matter how we've got here with Scotty Fox, right? It's been, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it with how up and down it's been to get to one guy. We did see a lot of promise last week, and that's what it's about. Is there one quarterback that we can take into next season? And with him being younger, it's even better. You get a guy like Scotty Fox, if you're able to take him into next year. I'm not saying that he's going to be the starting quarterback next year, but hey, we know we got a young guy. We know he gets the program. We know we can take this guy and get him to grow with us. We'll bring in a guy with more experience, an NIL guy, pay money at him. No, he'll keep us competitive. And then we got a guy like Scotty Fox that will grow even more, can play backup if we need to. And then the year following and the year after that, maybe he's our guy. That's what we're looking for in terms of quarterback. Maybe none of these guys is that. And maybe you just got to start it over, wipe it out next year. But if there's a guy that's closest to being that, it is Scotty Fox, right? I really like Khalil Wilkins a lot. I think he's an excellent quarterback. And obviously he's very capable of running the ball. I have my concerns, when it comes to the passing game. With Scotty Fox, as erratic and up and down as he can be, I do think in terms of the ceiling, he's a more capable passer from everything I've seen out there. Don't get me wrong. There's been some horrible drives from both folks. And, consistency is going to be the main thing that we're looking for. And, this Houston game has that opportunity to show consistency. All right. You were just in Morgantown at home, Coal Rush, homecoming night. You gave it to TCU. Yeah, things didn't come out the way you wanted to, especially at the end there. Let's see if we can build this momentum going. Yeah, we're down and depleted. We already know that, but it's going to be what it is the rest of the season. How do we do against Houston? And I mean, I think if Houston's any example for us, any model for us, right? It's their coach, Willie Fritz. Houston, was struggling last year. Willie Fritz did the exact same thing. Go into Houston, see what I have, keep what I want, get rid of what I don't need, and look at him now. I mean, they just came off an incredible win against Arizona State. I think they only have one loss, which I had to do a double take on. I feel like everyone in the Big 12 this season's been talking about BYU or Texas Tech or Cincinnati, right? Houston's kind of just been this underdog that no one's really talking about. And so it's just another thing that's just kind of been incredible to me is the schools that are at the top of the league, right? It's been, like I just said, you got BYU. Obviously, we know Texas Tech. Texas Tech has been around here for a minute. Cincinnati, and then we got a school like Houston. Obviously, Arizona State won it last year. So why am I bringing this up? Is obviously Texas and Oklahoma are officially out of this league. We have, it's been a couple rounds of making what the Big 12 is today. And if you got teams up there like Arizona State last year, you got BYU that's good, you got Cincinnati that's good, you got Houston, that Houston is good even though no one's talking about them. What does that say? It's saying that those second, I don't know what round we're on, but I'll just say the last two rounds of this Big 12 expansion have brought in very capable teams and teams that have been able to be competitive right off the bat. So for West Virginia's sake, if all these teams have shown they can turn it around just like that, they can too. I mean, it's going to be tough. Don't get me wrong. It's not just going to happen like that. It can. It hopefully does. But it's something that's going to have to be worked at. West Virginia is in a unique situation. They are where they are in the state, where it's, in their region in the United States, the resources they deal with, the population of the state. It's very, I don't want to say a delicate situation because there are a lot of, I feel like when you're saying delicate, it's saying that it's more of a negative thing than it is. But it's a very careful thing that you got to work around because there are a lot of alumni in the area. You got Pittsburgh up there, you got Washington, D.C. over here, where West Virginia alumni are a lot. There are that do have money, right? We think of West Virginia, and yeah, it's a state that struggles when you compare them to the rest of the 50 states, resource and financially. Yeah, it's not up there with obviously like in California, but there are very influential, wealthy people that have graduated from this university that hopefully use their wealth in a sense to build the university and build the football team and build the basketball team, right? And so the reason I say that, yeah, I do think West Virginia compared to those, I'll just say in all of college football, but it's not really all, the rest of the Big 12 and I guess other Power 4 teams, I feel like they are in one of the most unique situations where they do have to balance a lot of things out and get things in a place where they need to be to compete at a high level. In this new transfer portal NIL era, yeah, it took a second, but they can figure it out. Every year, they're not going to be incredible, right? They're not going to be able to be Texas Tech and have that oil money and just throw it at people. but can they be a team that times their years right, builds in-house talent, gets good, capable administration around them, GMs, coaches? Absolutely. And yeah, this year has been a tough year, but it's starting to feel more and more that this year was part of the plan. So, I mean, we got basketball around the corner, and I know we're all looking forward to that. We'll see what we're able to do that. Hopefully we're able to stay competitive there. I think we are, but I think a lot of things. The good thing is there have clearly been put money and other resources aside for following years to come for this football team. So I think when you get in a game-by-game situation, we're playing Houston today. There are still many games left. Is you just let it rip. Play as though you have nothing to lose. Do what you get against TCU. Yeah, you may not win, but you're competitive. And imagine when you do have the players that you need in there, then how do those games look? You're not only winning, you're killing the other teams, right? So, guys, I'm with you. It's been a tough year. It sucked. I've hated it. Basketball's around the corner. There's a couple, games left. We got to support the troops. We have to. Guys are going out there. I'm sure a lot of these football players are already looking forward towards next year, whether it's for their personal interests or just want to be part of a better West Virginia team, man. We've all been part of those teams where it sucks to be on, and you're just waiting to get it over with. But even being on those teams, imagine being on those teams on the scale that these guys are. So, support them through thick and thin. Let's go Mountaineers, of course, and take all the following games that are left and use them to build and become something great, in these next few years. That's what it's about. So, hey, Houston's, like I said earlier, they're coming off that Arizona State game. Hopefully they come in, rolling depleted, go through the motions, think, we'll beat West Virginia, no problem. And then next thing you know, they're the ones saying, Houston, we got a problem. So, of course, I had to slip that in there. But it's, we do have revenge there. Last time we were in Houston, it was not fun. We all remember that game, right? So, a little revenge needed on our end. So, everyone enjoy the game, support this team because it'll make, the next coming years a lot more fun when they are good. We got to take the punches this year. It happens when you're growing. And like I said, we got basketball starting up Tuesday. So until then, thank you for joining. We'll see y'all later. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's go Mountaineers.
Voice of Morgantown, we break it first. WVU pride. We quench your thirst, no spin, all truth, loud and proud. Mountaineer nation, say it loud. The Voice of Morgantown. VOL.